length and the shape, this information are coming, then this is pen like that. And the same thing is being learned by the child. Okay, we are training that. So where these machine learnings are useful, as you can see, everywhere from image recognition, speech recognition, email filtering, Facebook auto tagging, recommender system. Okay, these all are the applications of the machine learning. As you can see that whenever you are purchasing some items from online stores, then it recommends some of the items based on your purchasing behavior. Okay, so that is one of the real-time example of the machine learning. So here it recommends based on the purchasing behavior by the customer. And the same thing, as you can see in the different organizations, biometric login system is being introduced. Okay, so where they are introducing some face recognition and some biometric recognition they are introducing. So initially in this way we are training our machines, and whenever unknown data are coming, and then it is reacting on that data. Okay, so here machine learning enables machine to automatically learn from data, improve performance from their experience, and predict things without being explicitly programmed. So here three things are there. Okay, one is artificial intelligence, one is machine learning, and one is deep learning. So here there is slight difference between that. So can anyone differentiate between these three things: artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning? Do you have any idea about this? Okay, so here we can say that artificial is the broad umbrella, and inside that we are having machine learning, and inside the machine learning we are having the deep learning. So artificial intelligence just provides an algorithm that acts in the smart way. Like suppose I am interacting with some robots like that. So I am saying hello, then it will respond hello, how are you, like that. But here robot cannot decide itself. It is the robot has been trained as the programs. Okay, it does not learn something. So here comes the machine learning. So here in the machine learning, what happens that whenever we are introducing data, and here we are giving some training to the machines, and based on the machine, whenever it is being developed, it is being introduced in the unknown environment, then it interacts like that. Okay, so this is the machine learning. And deep learning is that it mimic the behavior of the human beings. As you can see, have you heard the Sophia humanoids? Are you aware this report?
Yes sir.
Yeah, okay. As you can see that this type of robots like Sophia has been designed. As you can, if you have seen the YouTube of the Sophia, then you have been analyzed that whenever you are asking anything, then it responds accordingly. Okay, so here this type of humanoids we have developed based on the machine learning. And also Sophia has been given citizenship in the countries, and also in many countries driverless cars are being introduced. Okay, so in this way, these are the some of the applications of the machine learning and deep learning. So here, uh, these machine learning techniques are basically divided into three broad categories. First one is supervised learning, second one is unsupervised learning, and the third one is reinforcement learning. So here, what do we mean by the supervised learning? What do we mean by the unsupervised learning, and what do we mean by the reinforcement learning? So, as the name suggests, as we always write thesis projects, okay, then we write the under supervision like that. So, what do we mean by that? So, we are taking some guidance from the supervisor to complete particular task. Same thing happens to the machine. In the supervised learning, what we are doing, machines are there and we are training the machines. Okay, so like suppose some objects are coming in front of the machines, then what happens that it recognizes the machine like that. So how it is recognizing? We have given training to the machines, like if we are giving patterns like a piece we are giving in front of the machine, then we have trained the machine so that whenever particular piece is coming, then it is categorized to the piece like that. Okay, so for a training purpose, we have given some data to the machines, and in the data different parameters are being used. Okay, that are called the features. Like different objects will have the different features, and based on that features we recognize the objects. Like suppose I am having three objects. Suppose I am having apple, banana, and a tomato. Okay, so based on the properties of these three different objects, like shape, color, and many more features, we can categorize that. So in this way, in the supervised learning, we train the model and then we test the model. Okay, so here we are giving training to the machines. Okay, that is basic of the supervised learning. And here in the unsupervised machine learning, this type of training is not provided. Okay, so here what happens that whenever different objects are coming in front of the machines, then it is grouped based on the properties. Like if in the bucket different objects are there, and we are taking one object at a time in front of the machine, then based on the properties it is being automatically categorized. Okay, so in this way, in the unsupervised learning, we don't have a training phase. Okay, based on the properties of the objects, it is being categorized or grouped. And third type of learning is the reinforcement learning. In the reinforcement learning, what happens that as you can see in the games, basically many of the students are in our nearby peoples are playing the many games. Like what is the famous game in this time? That is being played by the different peoples. The game?
No.
अभी वो जो बैन हुआ ना, जो गेम चाइना जिसको प्ले करवा रहा था,
पबजी सर।
हाँ, पबजी में देखिए कि many people are playing PUBG, and other games are also there. So what happens that here, based on the action, peoples are getting peoples are being rewarded. ओके, जैसे जैसे आप लोग क्या करते हैं कि जो एक्शन लेते हैं उसके बेसिस पे आपको कुछ रिवार्ड मिलता है. अगर आप गलत खेलते हैं तो आपका माइनस में रिवार्ड मिलेगा. अगर आप अच्छे से खेल रहे हैं मींस यू आर गेटिंग पॉजिटिव रिवार्ड्स. ओके, सेम थिंग हैपेंस इन द reinforcement learning. That is example of the reinforcement learning. Okay, the agent is being introduced in the environment and it interacts with the environment, and when it gets correct output or then it is being positively rewarded, and from that positive reward it interacts in the other state like that. ओके, तो इस प्रकार से क्या होता है इन द रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग, रिवार्ड के हिसाब से ये क्या करता है, आगे आने वाले एक्शन को डिसाइड करता है. अगर इसका पॉजिटिव रिवार्ड होता है देन it will act accordingly. if negative, इसमें बच्चों को भी, जैसे कि मान लीजिए हम लोग क्या करते हैं, अगर सही सही काम करता है देन वी आर गिविंग देम चॉकलेट्स वगैरह जो भी है, और अगर वह अच्छे से पढ़ नहीं रहा है मान लीजिए, तब हम लोग क्या करते हैं, उसको डांटते हैं या फिर जो भी, तो उसको हम लोग समझ सकते हैं नेगेटिव रिवॉर्ड्स. ओके, सो इन दिस वे इन द रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग इट इंटरएक्ट्स विद द एनवायरनमेंट. सो अब हम लोग इसके बारे में और डिटेल से पढ़ते हैं. So in the supervised learning, as I said that here some kind of training is being done. So here the supervised learning, machine learning is divided basically categorized into three categories. First one is decision tree, second one is random forest, and the third one is support vector machine. Okay, so here आप लोग here this is data of the loan application. Okay, whenever customer move to bank for loan, then bank collect some of the information. अब आप लोग यह जानते ही होंगे कि bank has also introduced artificial intelligence to collect the credit score of the customers. Okay, do you know that credit score?
Yes sir.
Okay, so here okay, तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि banks are collecting the credit scores, and based on that they are deciding the interest also. If the customer's credit score is good, then they are providing low interest rate, and if customer's credit record is not good, then they are providing some different interest rate also. They can deny the loan application like that. So here we are having some of the data like age, and here in this data the age has been grouped in three different categories: young, middle, and old. And here has a job is another feature, and here true and false values are there. True means customer has job, and false means customer has not job. On house, okay, it is also divided into two, false and true, and a credit rating is there: fair, good, and excellent. Okay, so based on that data we have to decide the class. Okay, and here this class means whether loan will be approved or disapproved like that. So here as you can see in the first row, if the age is young and he has not job and don't have house and credit rating is fair, then he is not getting loan like that. Okay, so this is the interpretation of the particular row. So same way other rows are being described. So in the decision tree, basically here based on the data we create the decision for the classification whether loan will be approved or not. Okay, this is one of the problem. Here this can be used for different problems like automatic filtering of the spam mail. Okay, so here many applications are there that can be solved by the decision tree. So here one of the feature is age. Okay, so here the age has been divided into 3 categories: young, middle, and old. Okay, and here after that, if he is young, then has job or not, middle on house, and old credit rating. Okay, so and after that, suppose customers are coming with the young age, and and after that the job is being calculated. Okay, so if he has a job, then okay, yes means loan will be approved like that, and no means no approval of loan. Okay, so in this way other tree we can explore like that. So यहाँ पे as you can see in this example, one new data is coming, and here the customer's age is young, and he has no job, and on house false, and here credit rating is good. Okay, तो यहाँ पे based on the sum of the features we can decide whether he will be given loan or not. Okay, so here age young, has not job, then no, like that. So in this way this decision tree works. Okay, and these are the this data will be given as training to the machine, and whenever unknown data is coming, then it explores this kind of tree, and this tree model we have to develop in the machine so that if any unknown data is coming, then it will interact like that. So based on that, classification is being done by the decision tree. Clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then second approach of the supervised learning is the random forest. Okay, so here in this kind of technique, what happens that we create many of the decision trees. Okay, so here we have only one decision tree in the decision tree model, but here in the random forest we are having many decision tree. And how these decision trees are being designed? Okay, so here row sampling and the column samplings are being done here. So here low sampling and the common sampling is nothing but taking some of the rows from the data set and some of the columns from the data set. And suppose here total 15 numbers are there in this data set, and the total 4 number of columns are there in the data set. Okay, so here it will pick some suppose 5 number of rows and 2 number of columns from this table. Okay, this is called the row and the column sampling, taking some of the rows and taking some of the columns from the data set, and accordingly it will design the different trees. Okay, so here tree 1 means sum of the rows and sum of the columns, and here tree 2 means sum of the rows and sum of the columns, and tree 3 means okay, sum of the rows and sum of the columns. So in this way we can design the n number of different trees. Okay, so here This is called the ensemble techniques. Okay, this is called the ensemble techniques. And here after getting this tree, what happens that we final outcome of each tree will be whether loan will be approved or not. Okay, the basic purpose here in this classification model is to decide whether loan will be given to customer or not. So each of this tree will give whether loan will be approved or not. Okay, then how finally we decide whether loan will be given to the customer or not. Okay, so here voting is being done, majority voting. Suppose tree 1 is saying that loan will be approved, and here tree 2 is tree 2 is saying that loan will be approved. And here in the similar way other trees will give their responses. And suppose 60% of the trees are giving positive responses like loan will be approved, then loan will be approved because here majority voting is being done. Okay, so here final class will be loan will be approved. Okay, means it will correct the majority voter from different trees, and based on that it will decide whether loan will be approved or not. Okay, this is the random forest, and here this collection of the result of the different trees are called the aggregation. Okay, and here dividing this into many of the trees are called the bootstrap process. Okay, this is the bootstrap and this is the aggregation, and after aggregation we have final outcome will be produced. Okay, then comes the third technique, that is the support vector machines. Okay, so this is one of the most popular supervised machine learning techniques which is being used in the classification. Okay, the goal of support vector machine is to create a baseline or decision boundary that can segregate n-dimensional space into classes so that we can easily put new data point in correct category in the future. Okay, so so here we will given data. Okay, so here these are the training data, D1, D2, D3. In this way we are having the dn number of data points, and here based on that data points we have to design a hyperplane. Okay, and that hyperplane will divide that data points into different groups. Okay, so basic purpose of this support vector machine is to design a line. Okay, so here in this figure you can see that these green circles and these blue ones. Okay, so here what happens that the basic purpose of machine learning is to divide or classify these data points into different groups. Okay, so how it will be classified, we have to draw the line between these two data points. Okay, different data points, so that similar data items will be classified into one group, and another type of data will be similar data will be classified into another group. So here the basic purpose is to draw this hyperline, this black. Okay, so here it is written here. This center line is the hyperline, and what do you mean by this dotted hyperlines? Okay, so here these two are the parallel hyperplanes that is being drawn. Okay, to analyze performance of the support vector machine. So how we are drawing this? Okay, so here we have to draw this parallel line so that the distance between the closest point in the hello.
Sir, you continue, sir. Continue.
Okay.
Continue.
So here, as you can see in the green data points. So here, this dotted data lines is the parallel data lines. Okay, this is called the. So here, this hyperplane we have to design. We have to choose hyperplane so that the distance between the points, okay, that coincides with the parallel hyperplanes with the original hyperplane. Okay, the line that we are drawing should be maximum. Okay, so here as you can see here, these green data points and this blue one is the closest to the parallel hyperplanes that we have drawn. So here we have to calculate the distance between this green point to the hyperplane that we have drawn here, and also this blue to hyperplane that we have drawn here. Okay, and we have to calculate the sum of these distances, and these distances should be maximum, because in this figure you can draw many of the hyperplanes. अगर इस हाइपरप्लेन की बात करें तो हम लोग बहुत सारे हाइपरप्लेन्स बना सकते हैं, but we have to choose one hyperplane which have maximum margin, means distance between this parallel hyperplane or parallel hyperplanes to the hyperplane should be maximum. And here this green and blue ones that coincides with the parallel hyperplanes are called the support vectors. Okay, so this green one that coincides with the parallel hyperplanes, okay, that is called the support vectors. Okay, so here as you can see here, this arrow, these 2 points. Okay, and here these parallel hyperplanes are drawn. Okay, and that coincides with the closest data points. Okay, nearest data points to the hyperplane. अगर इस फिगर में देखा जाए तो ये वाला जो ग्रीन है और ये वाला ब्लू है वो सबसे नजदीक है इस हाइपरप्लेन से. Okay, so this has been chosen, and based on that we have drawn these hyperplanes. Okay, तो यहाँ पे in the support vector machine we have the basic purpose is to get maximum margin. As you can see, we can draw different hyperplanes. Okay, तो यहाँ पे how it works basically, here this fx is the line. Okay, this line, and here wx plus b. तो यहाँ पे आपने we have seen that equation of line. The basic purpose in the support vector machine is to draw the line. Okay, the equation of line is mx plus b, like that. Here in the line, this mx plus b, m is the slope and b is the intercept, and in the this function is same as the equation of the line. Here w is the slope, okay, and x is the data point, and b is the intercept. Okay, so based on that we draw this hyperplane. And here after designing the hyperplane, you will see that if the value of this line, okay, is greater than equal to 0, that will be categorized into one group, and if it is less than 0, then it will be categorized into another group. Okay, so here binary classification will be done in this support vector machines. Okay, So here in this way it works. Okay, clear to all of you basic concept of the support vector machine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so a lot of mathematics is involved here, but here due to time I am not I am not going into details. Okay, just I am introducing the concepts of the machine learning. Okay, and then here three of the techniques, basic techniques we have discussed in the supervised machine learning, and here next one is the unsupervised machine learning. Okay, so unsupervised machine learning means supervision will not be there. Okay, whenever objects are coming, then based on properties of the objects, it is being categorized into different categories. Okay, so here as you can see in the figure, so here red circles, yellow, gray. Okay, so this three different data items are there, and based on the properties it is being classified into different groups. Okay, so here there is no prior training is being done here. Okay, so यहाँ पे in the supervised basically we have some training data, and based on that we train our model, but here we don't have training data. Based on properties of the data, it is being classified into different groups. Okay, so and here two things are there whenever we are working with the clustering, that is intra cluster distance. Intra cluster means distance between data items inside the cluster should be minimized. Okay, because ultimate goal is to group similar data items into one group. Okay, so the dissimilarity between this data item should be low, and here inter-cluster distances should be maximized. Okay, so here different distance between the two clusters should be maximized. Okay, because we have to group these similar data items, and we have to separate the dissimilar data items. Okay, so distance inside the cluster should be minimum, and outside the cluster should be maximum. Okay, so two clustering techniques are there that are popularly used in the machine learning. One is the partitional clustering, and the second one is hierarchical clustering. So here K means is one of the popular partitional clustering. Okay, so here K means how K means clustering works basically. So and also what do you mean by this K? Okay, so K means the number of classes or number of groups that that we have to form. Okay, okay, so that we have to decide. Okay, initially if data is given to you, and you have to decide that in how many groups this data should be categorized like that. And suppose you have given 2 here, means the data will be categorized into 2 groups. If the value of K is 3, means it will be categorized into 3 groups like that. Okay, so select K points as the initial centroid, and here K means the number of classes you are designing. Accordingly you have to give the centroids. Okay, suppose 2 the value of K is 2, then you have to give the initial centroids. Okay, means the centroids will be 2. Okay, then form K clusters. As I say that the basic purpose is to divide these data points into K clusters or K groups by assigning all points to closest centroid. How this closest centroid will be calculated? Okay, so here we use the Euclidean distance, okay, between the data points. Suppose the value of k is 2. Okay, means two centroid you have to give initially, and from that centroids the distance will be calculated to the other data points using the Euclidean distances, and based on the distances, based on the difference distance, we group the data items into these clusters. And after clustering, we have to recompute the centroid of the each cluster. Okay, because after clustering, okay, the centroids will be changed, and based on the centroid also the data points may be changed. Okay, so we have to recompute the centroid within the cluster, and after that we have to recompute the distances between these centroids to other data points, and this iteration will be continue until centroids don't change. Okay, though, so this is the algorithm of the k-means clustering algorithm. Okay, so here you can see these are the data points, and here the basic.
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Hello, am I audible?
Sir, your
Hello.
voice is not clear.
Okay. Okay, now it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so here basically, as you can see in the figure, in the left hand side, we are having some data points, and here we have to divide these data points into two groups. Okay, so initially we have to set the value of k equal to 2. Okay, and then initial centroids will be chosen. Okay, and if suppose you can choose anyone. Okay, and because it will be recomputed in the algorithm itself, then you can choose two centroids initially, and you have to calculate the distance between the other points from those centroids. Suppose you have chosen this leftmost data points is the centroid 1, and this rightmost data is the centroid 2. Then you have to calculate the distance between this left two other points. Okay, and from these two other data points. Okay, then after that two clusters will be made. Okay, and you have to recompute the centroids, and after completion of task, this type of cluster will be formed. And here in the second example, as you can see, data are scattered in the space, and only one clustering is being done, and you can increase the number of clusters. Okay, suppose you can form 3 clusters here. 2 will be in this, 2 will be in this, and the third one will be here, like that. So this is up to you, but here you have not to make too much clusters. Okay, that is basic things. You must trade off between number of groups and these clusters, like that. So in this way it works. And here second approach is the hierarchical clustering, and in the hierarchical clustering two algorithms are there. One is agglomerative, and sorry, this is divisive. The second one is divisive. So in the agglomerative, what happens that you start with the points as the individual clusters, and at each step merge the closest pair of clusters until one cluster left. So here what happens that यहाँ पे अगर इस फिगर में देखा जाए तो here in this figure, what happens that 4 data points are there, means initially you have to assume 4 number of clusters are there, and here we calculate the distances. This here proximity matrix, this is nothing but the adjacency matrix, we can say, or distance matrix, we can say. Okay, compute the proximity matrix and merge two closest clusters. Okay, so here proximity or distance matrix will be calculated, and we have to choose the shortest one. So here what happens that here this type of matrix will be designed. Okay, so here suppose 4 points are there. Suppose this is P1, P2, P3, P4, and here means if 4 points are there, then you have to make the 4 into 4 matrix. Okay, and as in the data structures we have seen the adjacency matrix, same kind of thing you have to design here. P2, P3 and P4, and here distance from point to itself will be 0, so diagonal elements will be 0 like that. Okay, and here distance from P2 to P1, suppose it is 1, and distance from P3 to P1, that is 2, suppose, and the distance between P3 and P2 is 4, suppose, and here P1 to P4 it is 3, 5 and 8. Okay, and here this upper triangle will be same. Okay, so here no need to calculate this. So so smallest value you have to choose and merge that. So here smallest among these is 1, means P1 and P2 will be merged here. Okay, then again new table will be formed, and here P1 and P2 will be in the one cluster, and then P3 and P4 will be in another cluster. Okay, so then you have to calculate the distances like that, P3 and P4, and then here this will be 0, diagonal elements will always be 0, distance from itself will be 0, and here how this P1, P2, comma P3 will be calculated. Okay, so you have to calculate the P1 and the P3, and here P2 and the P3 you have to calculate. For calculate the distance between this P1 comma P2 to P3, you have to calculate the P1 to P3 and P2 to P3 like that, and then you have to choose the minimum one, and after choosing minimum one you have to write here, and based on that after completion of the algorithm it will be merged into single cluster. Okay, so here in this way, in this example, as you can see, P2 and P3 are the two closest point. Okay, so here in the first iteration these two data points are merged, and the next data points from next points with the smallest distance is the P4. In the next iteration P4 is being merged, and in the next iteration only 1 points remain, then that will be merged here. Okay, so after completion of this algorithm, agglomerative algorithm, okay, one cluster will be formed. Okay, so that is basic process of the agglomerative clustering. And the next one is divisive. Divisive में क्या होता है, you have to assume that only one cluster is there, means all the data points are in the one group, and based on the distance, okay, you have to
scatter that data points. Okay, so one is bottom up approach and one is top down approach. Okay, so here in the divisive from top we are starting. Okay, so this P1 will be separated first, and then in the next iteration, next P4 will be separated like that. Okay, so in this way, and this diagram, this tree-like diagram is called the dendrogram. Okay, so these two are these two different approaches are there in the hierarchical clustering. One follows bottom-up approach and one follows top-down approach. And the next learning is the reinforcement learning. Okay, so here it works on the rewards. Okay, as we have discussed in the PUBG game, that if you are playing good, okay, then you are rewarded in the positive manner. If you are not playing good, then you will be negatively rewarded like that. So reinforcement learning is area of machine learning. It is about taking suitable action to maximize reward in particular situation. So here reinforcement learning is different from the supervised learning. As here in the supervised learning we are training our model. Okay, we are giving some initial data, and also we have given class of that data. But here this type of training is not being given in the reinforcement learning, and here based on the reward it interacts in the future like that. Okay, so here in the absence of training data set, it is bound to learn from experience. Okay, अगर इसको अच्छा रिवॉर्ड मिल रहा है, then it is good, and if it is getting negative record, then it interacts accordingly. Okay, so here यहाँ पे this is one game, and here one agent is there, okay, who is playing the game, and as here the basic purpose of this agent is to get the diamond. Okay, तो यहाँ पे अगर उसको डायमंड मिलता है, then that is good one, but here also negative rewards are also there. अगर वो इस प्रकार से if he is playing, if he is moving in this direction, then agent is getting the fire. Okay, so this fire is negative reward like that. Okay, so in this way, if agent is getting good means positive responses or positive rewards, okay, the rewards may be in any form like that, so it will move accordingly. Okay, then here these are the terminologies that are used in the reinforcement learning. Agent takes action to the environment, and based on the action the agent will get the reward, and also it will move into another state. Okay, as you can see in the game, if agent is moving, then it will move into the another state, and it will get some reward. Okay, in this way it continues, okay, till completion of the purpose like that. So these are the terminologies that are used in the reinforcement learning. Action, all the possible moves that agent can take place. State, okay, different states are there after taking the action. It will in the another state, and the reward. Okay, these are the rewards. Immediate return sent back from environment to evaluate the last action, and the policy is the strategies that are used by agent to play the game, and the value is the expected long-term return with a discount as opposed to short-time reward. As here you can see अगर गेम की बात करें तो यहाँ पे टू गेट द डायमंड, एजेंट हैज टू मूव into different states, and in each of the states agents are getting the rewards. Okay, so this value is the value means we are added rewards based on the states, and this q value or this is q value is another terminology, and here's q value is similar to value except that it takes extra parameter, the current state a, and the extra parameter is a. Okay, so so in the action, and this is the state. Okay, in which action it is taking state like that. Okay, so in this way these are the popular popular machine learning techniques. Okay, so I am stopping here because also 1 hour time given to you. So thank you. If you have any queries, then you can ask.
Hello, sir.
हाँ.
Hello, sir. One of our participant, Ms. Komal Tiwari, has raised a question, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
How, sir, it is in a chat box. How AI and ML can be take or learn from past data, and where we can use supervised and unsupervised machine learning.
Okay.
Yes,
the
sir,
question is where we can use supervised and unsupervised machine learning.
Yes.
Okay. Actually जैसा कि आपने देखा इस supervised means we are having the training data. मतलब जैसे कि मान लीजिए आपके पास आप अभी मैक्सिमम जैसे मान लीजिए कैंसर है ना, कैंसर डिटेक्शन में बहुत सारी मशीन लर्निंग टेक्निक्स यूज हुई है, तो उसमें क्या होता है कि वी नो इफ दिस टाइप ऑफ सेल्स आर कमिंग देन इट इज कैंसर लाइक दैट. तो हमको पहले से पता है एक पार्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम के बारे में और हम लोग उसका क्लासिफिकेशन कर चुके हैं. ओके, और उस तरीके का अगर फ्यूचर में आता है तब हम लोग उसको क्लासिफाई कर देते हैं ट्यूमर में. तो उसी प्रकार से इन द सुपरवाइज्ड मशीन लर्निंग व्हाट हैपेंस दैट फॉर पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम्स वी नो द आउटकम्स. ओके, and whenever new type of problem is coming which is similar to the previous one, then it will be categorized in accordingly like that. तो ये होता है सुपरवाइज्ड. पहले से हम लोग को पता है कि इसका आउटकम क्या होगा इस प्रकार के प्रॉब्लम का. अनसुपरवाइज्ड मशीन लर्निंग का मतलब ये होता है कि वी डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट द आउटकम. ओके, वी डोंट हैव प्रायर नॉलेज, just based on the problems we are classifying this data like that. Okay, is clear to you, Komal?
Komal, have you got your answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I got it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So any other participant who has any type of questions? Sir is there to solve your query, actually, to give the answer of your query. Anyone?
Okay, so
okay, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
अगर
thank
आपको कुछ होगा तो
yes,
we
sir.
can contact later in my email also, no problem.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful session. It is very delightful, sir. You have joined us in our this 4 days FDP program. So thank you so much, sir. Very thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir.